would you say if I told you that I don't like D&D? What would you say?
I wouldn't believe you.
Yeah. But see, here's
Good
the
instinct.
yeah, but here's this phenomenon is happening where I convince myself that I don't care about D&D, that
Uh-huh.
D&D CRPGs take up too much of my time and I don't like them, and I don't want to play them, and then I do it and I love it and
You
that's
love
all I
them.
want to do, and then I go back to like, "Oh, I don't really like D&D though."
I
What
think
is
this.
that?
I think both things can be true. I think D&D can take up D&D and D&D related shit could take up too much time. Like Baldur's Gate, it'll take
Yeah,
you like 200 hours to play.
that's
But if
true.
you want to play
That's true.
all 3 of them, you're going to be playing them for 700 hours.
The rest of my life. It's all
And
Baldur's Gate.
like actually playing okay, there's this thing about actually playing D&D. So that video games I guess replicate pretty well
Mhm.
then, which is every D&D party falls apart
Yeah.
because you're talking about usually once a week
Right.
having to just interrupt the rest of life to just sit there and like roll die or whatever, and
Yes.
you have to do it every week, and
And
you
everybody's
do
got
it
to
for
align with your schedule,
you do
like
it for hours at a
yeah.
time, and so like the experience of being in a D&D group is that every single week you go, "Oh, I don't want to fucking play D&D this week. God
But see,
damn it, I
now we
fucking
have
D&D. I'm so tired. I want to do something else." And then you go do it and you're like, that was the fucking best. I'm so happy I played D&D. And then the next week you're like, God, I don't
ugh.
want to fucking
Yeah.
go to D&D this week.
I mean, a good answer is like D&D computer games
You'd
because you
think,
don't have to align with other people. You don't have to take their schedules into
but
account. You just sit at your computer alone and play a D&D inspired game for 20 hours.
you already see what's worse about it though, right? You said
Maybe
it.
I like being alone, okay?
You sit at your computer alone for 20 hours.
Alone.
Yeah.
Maybe your cat's there. Maybe they don't want to hang out with you either. I don't know, but
Yeah, because they can sense you're being a total fucking nerd.
you know what I do though?
No.
I sit at my computer alone.
Okay.
I boot up my D&D. I light a candle. I get some like yumblies, and then I just start texting you as though as
As
though
though
you're
I'm there.
yeah, I'm like, "Oh, I'm not really alone. Matt's kind of there."
Yeah, that is how you play most games these days, it seems.
What are you trying to say? What are you trying to
um,
say, Matt?
I started. Well, I like having my Steam Deck because now I play all games like I do all things, which is trying to be as horizontal as possible. So I'm laying in bed and I'm trying to see how much I can how little I can lift my arms while still holding and playing the game.
Like, don't your, like, arms fall asleep, and doesn't your neck hurt?
Yeah, so you gotta keep shifting around.
I
So
can't do
actually,
that
you know what? Actually, so I'm a hero for this.
for
For
being
overcoming
horizontal.
adversity.
Oh my god.
For struggling in the way that I have.
I have no response to that. I'm starting the intro.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Save Your Game. I'm Matt Camp, and with me is the lucky
Lucky?
and or unlucky,
Oh,
depending on the dice roll,
ominous.
Pushing Up Roses. How's it going, Pushing Up Roses?
Hate D&D. No, that's not true.
No, you love
I
D&D.
think actually what has been revealed to me is that Pushing Up Roses really likes D&D and is very much a nerd, a nerd girl.
Nerd girl.
Nerd
You
girls.
knew you were a nerd, though.
No, not really. I'm not as here's my argument. And you're my friend, you're allowed to debate this. I don't think I'm as
But you're
nerdy
saying
as other people.
this is a warning to people online. You're not allowed to debate this.
I mean, I
I
know who I
am,
am.
because we're friends. But
Yeah,
you
you can.
people, if 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 this episode comes out and you guys start debating online in front of everybody whether Pushing Up Roses is a nerd or not, you're I don't know what the consequences are.
No, I will come in and slay with words, which is a thing that I'm very good at. Um, yeah, I'm a little nerdy, I suppose. I think I'm a cool nerd, you know? Like I think people regard me as kind of cool because I got my tattoos, I look a little
I
alt, you know?
I think about this a lot, right? That I also regard myself as a cool nerd.
No.
I am sociable.
But that's not what makes a person cool. Just because I can socialize,
Well,
but that
yes, that's exactly what makes a person cool. Whether coolness is defined entirely on how much other people enjoy your company.
I want that to be a stat, a coolness factor that I can upgrade. Mine would
And
be
I
like 20 right away.
and I'm a fairly I've the majority of my life I've been a fairly popular guy. Like I've had plenty of friends, and I have no problem making friends, and I have no
Mm.
problem and I go to parties, I do cool
Mhm.
stuff. I have an interesting life. So but this is my theory, right? I think every nerd thinks of themselves as a cool nerd.
But I really am one.
Just because you have tattoos.
I really am a cool nerd.
Um, Roses.
I'm not really a nerd. Sorry, go. I'm deep in. I'm thinking about things now. Yes, Matt.
Here's my question to you.
Okay.
Did you play any cool video games recently?
Yes? Question mark?
I know exactly why you're saying it that way.
I know because I don't want to get too. I want to save. I want to allot a lot of time for what we're talking about today.
Sure.
Because I just had such a fun time with it, and I just love to gush
Mhm.
and discuss. But I think we both played, correct? Is we played Paradise Falls, which is a indie pixelated style adventure game, and I think we both took away different things from it.
Yes. Yeah, and I am okay. This is a
Here's the
game.
thing.
Let's just give it a big broad overview, just so
Yeah,
people know
broad strokes. Broad
what we're talking
strokes.
about. It is a pixel horror point and click adventure game. Um, it works on a verb wheel. You click on something and then you decide it's not actually a wheel, but you click on something and you can either, I think, look or talk to or touch, right?
Mhm,
And it's a little hard. You're a guy who works a job he hates,
mhm.
and he loses his daughter in a mysterious way.
Yeah.
She just like disappears from the back of his car while he's having a hallucination.
Right. Yeah, it's weird. It's bizarre.
There's a lot in this game that's a little hard to say exactly what happened when,
Yeah, that's
because
true.
there's a lot of hallucinating going on. And I think the writing's a little clumsy, but
I do wonder. I was thinking about that, and I do wonder if that's where our likes and dislikes kind of ventured off because I
okay.
do kind of in a Twin Peaks kind of way. I kind of like abstract horror.
Mhm.
I like the vibe of it. I don't have to know really why something happened or what happened in specific detail, but I wonder if you're the type of person who prefers to know what happened or figures it out
Yeah,
later, you know?
I think so. I just think this game fails to answer almost every question it
Mm.
raises,
Yeah.
and I think this game also struggles to have a cohesive point.
Yeah.
I think everything it's like trying to tell you is important, like the theme of the story, it undermines at the same
Mm.
time,
Mhm.
and I don't think that's on purpose. I think that's just clumsy writing.
Okay.
So, you end up in a little town called Paradise Falls where, unclear why,
Right.
but you think you might find your daughter here.
Right.
No, it's never really explained why you correctly spoiler alert, made the guess that Paradise Falls has something to do with her disappearance.
Is it because they were on when she disappeared, that's where they were going? Were they
They
on their way
were
there?
go Oh, you know what? I know why. Actually, I
Why?
do remember why. Because she had drawn a bunch of pictures
Mm. Mhm.
before she disappeared,
Yes.
and at least one of them appeared to be Brookfield Middle School, which is in Paradise Falls,
Right.
which is where you guys
Yes.
were headed to.
Right, right. Yes.
Yeah, so you head there, and Paradise Falls is a town that has recently flooded completely,
Mhm.
and at the same time is full of all these random tragedies that appear to have occurred in the recent past.
Yeah.
You also get a prologue where a priest is sitting with a cop in a cafe, and that cop's
Right.
like, "Hey, I've been hearing rumors that," and I don't know why this is a cop's job to do, but he's like, "I've been hearing rumors that your church has stopped worshiping God and has
Mhm.
started becoming more like a cult, worshiping this the Covenant of Rasulka is what they're calling it." And
Mhm.
the priest is like, "You should stick to cop business." Oh, and his daughter, that's right. His daughter is also appearing at school with more and more bruises. And he's
Mhm.
like, "You should stick to your own business." And suddenly the cop just like dies in front of him. And it's
Yeah, really strange. A
if the
really weird
priest
thing. Yeah.
unclear if the priest did that or not.
I think it's implied, but yeah, you're so right. There's a lot of things that just aren't really explained. It almost kind of exists as a horror piece for horror's sake because it is
Right.
and I kind of told you like I really like the vibe of this game though. Even though yes, the writing is clunky, things are not really explained. The town is weird. Um and depressing. But I think what it does at least is it has this horror vibe to it. It's very heavy on sound, which I clocked right away. There's a lot of weird, eerie sounds. Um, it feels very lonely. The thing it reminded me of right away was Trilby's Notes, which is one of the Trilby games by
Yes.
Yahtzee. It had a very similar type of horror vibe going on to me. Trilby's Notes is fantastic, by the way. If you guys haven't played it, it's a parser game,
Mhm.
which we all know is pretty rare these days, but it's one of those games that did it, I think, pretty well. Yeah, I really liked the sound design. I liked the vibe of it. I felt that something was really off. But when you get to the nitty-gritty of it and you try to like understand it and try to describe things and understand motivations and
Right.
that's where I think it kind of loses it a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's I didn't have much trouble solving puzzles in this
Yeah,
game.
they weren't bad. I
Um,
agree.
the few that I did have trouble with were, I think, so kind of wildly obtuse that I don't know
Mm.
how how you intuit them.
Yeah,
For example, there's a at some point you're in a church and you're talking to, very unclear whether most of the people you encounter are real or
right.
like spirits of
Yeah.
people who are no longer, who are just like aren't here anymore, but they're like
Or
unresolved.
even if our character is hallucinating again. Because I feel like we
Exactly.
hallucinated a lot in the beginning of this game. And then I wasn't clear if that was just part of this character, is that he is
Right.
dealing with like hallucinations throughout.
Right. And so in this instance, you actually have to consult your hallucinations
Mhm.
to answer a series of questions this person poses to you in the church. And that was so unclear to me. I didn't like I hadn't encountered these hallucinations yet at all.
Oh, okay.
And so for kind of, I guess there is a hint there, cuz it's like you have to light something on fire, and
Mhm.
there would be no reason to light this thing on fire. There's nothing that would suggest you should light this thing on fire, but there is a sign nearby that's like, "No open flames near
Yeah.
here."
Right, right.
Um, so oftentimes you have to murder somebody in
Mhm.
order to experience your hallucinations. But you learn really early on that usually when you're murdering somebody, you're actually not doing anything at all. It's all in your
Right.
head.
Right.
Um,
It's got a little bit of a, especially maybe in the beginning, a little bit of an American Psycho vibe to it. Um, where some things are kind of
mhm.
nebulous and some things are not. I don't know. See, like I when I first started playing the game, I really liked it, and then as I went on and talked to you more about it, then I was a little more middling on it, I think.
I think there's some themes that were hitting me. Like, there's a lot of this game that's just about how scary and torturous it is to be a parent.
Sure.
The way that uh, a person's well-being depends entirely upon you, or just maybe
Mhm.
to love in general. Um, the way but in terms of parenting, the way a person's well-being depends entirely on you, and the amount of pressure that has and the amount of fear that creates in you. There's a
Mhm.
lot of circumstances in this game in which a parent has somehow failed their child, and that's caused some like deep emotional disturbance in them. But in the end, and there's a lot about responsibility too, because there's another character who's kind of willfully sacrificing their own kids' safety and well-being
Right.
to, uh, I'll just say resurrect their wife. I don't think that's too big of a spoiler
I
when
think
it's in
that's
the
fine.
abstract.
I think that's
Um,
fine.
but the very end the thing that frustrated me the most, I think, is the very end of this game sort of undermines any concept of responsibility.
Mhm.
Because you get the sense that, okay, I'm an irresponsible father and sort of a bad employee, and I was a bad husband. And now I'm up against this guy who is worse at all of those things than I
Yeah.
was, to a absurd horror level degree.
Yeah.
And but the final sequence is mostly dreamlike and hallucinatory and hard to tell if anything actually happened.
Right.
But the correct choice in every scenario that you face in the end of this game is freedom above all else. Like, don't feel don't let your responsibilities hold you back. Instead, you need to be free. And all people need to be free, and you can't control people.
Mhm.
You should never allow anybody to control you, including your children. Like, or like the end of this game, you sort of like you like ride off into the sunset
Mhm.
having decided that none of this was your responsibility, with a kid who lost his parents for similar reasons. And
Right.
like and you're like, we're now both free. And it's like, this is the message you wanted me to take away from your fucking game? Is
I
that
don't even know if
actually
it's like I don't know
he was a
if
good
it's a message though,
he was a
right?
good guy for being a shitty parent? And like the
Or
wrong choice would have been
are
to
we supposed to think that he is just a shitty parent and that is part of this horror plot? Is that he is just kind of a piece of shit the whole time and that stays consistent.
so okay, what I felt was, in comparison to the villain of this story, we are nowhere near the level of the villain of this story,
Sure,
right?
sure.
And you defeat the villain by by just kind of like declaring yourself free of all
Right.
responsibility.
Right.
And to me, that is sort of inherently making the point, like, what makes me less bad than this other guy is this other guy's beholden to his weird god that he cultily worships.
Mhm.
I'm beholden to nobody. And so it does feel like it's making a moral statement. But you're right, maybe it's not. Maybe I'm looking for something that wasn't intended, or maybe what I'm suggesting was in fact intended, and you walked away going, "Oh, okay, that was a nihilistic game, and I
Mhm.
learned nothing from it." And
Yeah.
that's fine because it's horror, and I walked away going, "That's a nihilistic game, and I learned nothing from it, and it makes me
Right.
mad."
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think of other, like, extremely nihilistic horror that
Right.
doesn't, you know what I mean? That doesn't really have a message that I enjoyed. Um, have you seen Weapons?
I did.
I feel I'm not saying that's a completely nihilistic horror movie, but I would say it has an ending that has justice in it, but it's not a good ending. You know what I mean? People
C
were affected by what happened
correct,
in
but
Weapons. I don't know.
I know who was good and who was bad in
True.
Weapons and
Yeah,
why,
true.
even if I'm not sure the ending doesn't make a moral case, I don't
Right.
think, but it does. But again, I know the flaws of the villain, and I know the virtues of the heroes,
Yeah. No, that's good. That's a good point.
and in
I do think
Paradise Falls, I don't. I think that
yeah.
I think which makes me think that the creator of the game is just kind of a nihilist, and
Yeah.
I think, as a result, not necessarily that their work is bad, but that I wouldn't enjoy any of their work
Yeah.
because I I don't share their
Yeah.
values.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I kind of look at it as um as just a horror art piece almost,
Okay.
where no, you don't really need to take anything away from it. It is
Mhm.
disturbing because it is, which I think is hard to digest for some people, because horror usually does have more defined messages. I would
Yeah.
say most horror does, right? Um,
But
but yeah,
that
that's why I said it
it's
kind of like gave me some Twin Peaks vibes because it gets into the abstract where I just don't really quite understand it. And I'm solely working on vibes here.
and that's a s that now that you say that, I think Weapons is a good comparison because I
Oh,
think
okay.
Weapons is an idea like, I don't I still feel the same way about, the flaws that this game have has are less are actually, I'll just say, not present in Weapons, but I do see what you're saying is, like, Weapons is a movie in which there isn't a clear message.
Right.
But again, the the ethical perspective of Zach Kreger, the creator,
Hmm.
is clear and is one that I am more or less aligned with,
Sure.
in that piece of art because again, it's like I know who the good guys are, and I know who the bad guys are, and I know, uh, what both of their flaws and virtues are.
Yeah.
But in Paradise Falls, this was created just because we're probably gonna wrap up
Yeah.
this discussion pretty soon.
Yeah.
You find it on Steam. It's by developer and publisher L Goat.
Hmm.
Um, eh, it was released February of this year. Um, so L Goat, I don't know what their value systems are, and I don't know if they know. Again, it just feels like a nihilistic piece of art to me.
Yeah. Which I think definitely has its place. I think what it is super successful at is being very dark and giving
Yeah.
me this certain, because I'm a horror girly. I like a lot in that genre. And I feel like it is hitting like certain things that are not satisfying to me. I was going to say appealing, and yes, but more so satisfying. It really, like I said, it was giving me those kind of dark vibes that the Trilby games had. And I do think that is a difficult thing to achieve in an indie
Right.
adventure game, is to give those kind of vibes. I felt that way about Nightmare Frames too, which is a game I gush about
Right.
because that game rocked. I loved it. But yeah, I think it is successful at it's very interesting, like horror vibe going on.
Yeah, I think that's true. And there's some good pixel art in it. There's some bad
There
pixel
is,
art in it,
yeah.
but there's some good pixel art in it.
Yeah.
Um, and like I'm trying to think of other nihilistic art that I like and why this doesn't hit me the same way. Like the
Yeah.
band The Misfits, for example.
Oh yeah,
Why
yeah.
why would I like The Misfits and not Paradise Falls? What do the Misfits have that Paradise Falls doesn't?
I think
And
because the Misfits can be a little almost a bit of a parody of something. Yes, it is very nihilistic and somewhat disturbing in some of
right.
their songs, but I've always kind of looked at them as like a slight horror novelty. And
You're
maybe that's
not supposed to
incorrect. Maybe I'm not
That's
supposed
a
to, but
good point. You're not supposed to take the Misfits seriously, but this
yeah.
is a game that seems to be asking you to take it seriously.
Yeah, that I think so too.
Even though and here's my last complaint about it. Even though there is a lot in Paradise Falls does that thing that point and click games do sometimes that can be so frustrating where you're in the
Mm.
middle of a very serious moment and then they make the character make some sort of like really just weird joke
Mm.
that
Mhm.
you're like, "Okay, what tone do you want here?
Sure.
Is this Monkey
Yeah.
Island or is this like?" And again, we've talked about it before. It's somebody I think somebody in on YouTube or something maybe got mad at us like about
Oh,
this. We talked about how there's humor in Twin Peaks. And they were like, "Oh yeah, there's humor in the TV show that's about death and it's about the murder and the assault of a young girl in a town and it's like
you're kidding me, right?
yeah, the whole point of that show is that there's supposed to be humor in it. Like
This is
that's
David Lynch and his thoughts on it,
yeah.
rest in power. Uh, yeah, there is some and when I say
Yeah, if you
humor, I think this is an interesting thing, and
yeah,
we'll wrap this up, but, humor doesn't always have to be, like, lighthearted. You know what I mean? So they're
right.
saying these are very serious themes, why would you bring, quote, "humor" into it? Humor doesn't have to be lighthearted. Humor can be thoughtful and absurd
I
and
think if
surreal.
if you and I haven't seen much of Twin Peaks, but I know
Mhm.
enough about it because everybody in my life,
Yeah.
everybody I've ever known has been a Twin Peaks fan, and I don't know why I haven't picked. But uh, I, if you watch Twin Peaks and don't see any humor in it, I have no idea what it would be like to be in your brain. Like, what is
Yeah,
your brain? How
and I'm
could you
not
possibly watch the
yeah,
absurdity that is in that show
yeah,
and the literal jokes that are written for that show
yes,
and say, this is humorless because a girl died.
and
What is your brain like?
nobody's discounting the disturbing and
Exactly.
sad nature of those things that happen in Twin Peaks. When we focus on some of those things, they're extremely sad. Fire Walk with Me is the movie
Yeah.
that's tied to Twin Peaks about Laura Palmer. It's extremely serious. It's
Yes.
extremely sad and tragic and serious. But just because there is humor, that doesn't mean that we're taking things less seriously.
And
That doesn't equate to humor does not equate to let's take everything less seriously. These are
this is
not
one of
opposing things.
this is one of those things that David Lynch is famous for
Yeah.
is his ability to work absurdity and humor into incredibly dark storytelling and like
Yeah.
or into incredibly dark stories. There have been classes taught on the humor of Twin Peaks, right? There have been
Yeah.
scholarly papers. Like sorry, if that person's now I feel like I'm talking to that person, so we should probably move on. But like if that person's listening or if you're a person who agrees with that person, just go to Google Scholar and type in humor Twin Peaks and
Yeah.
read one of the dozen scholarly papers that have been written about how humor was used in an effective way to create an atmosphere
Yeah.
in Twin Peaks. Like
And like listen, like
but
I talk about serious things like I'll talk about I'm very candid about my overdoses and my suicidal attempts and I will be slightly humorous about some of
You
those
have to
things.
be.
And I'm not taking myself seriously. Those are very serious things,
Yeah.
but in reflection, I can use a little bit of humor to diffuse it for myself, to diffuse it for the audience, because at the end of the day, we're telling a story here, you know? It can't be all dark, all sad, all tragic all the time like Paradise Falls.
Yeah, all that
Whoops.
said, to go all the way back to my original point, the humor in this game absolutely fails. It is like,
It fails, yeah, I think
yeah,
so.
it is either like, you know, he murders somebody and then all of a sudden he's Guybrush Threepwood for a second
Yeah.
and then he goes
Yeah.
back to being depressed, or it's that Marvel type, like that Marvel movie type of humor, just
Mhm.
like done poorly, like you see so often, that Joss Whedon-y kind of humor where it's like,
Yeah.
you know, something very serious happens and then one of the characters is like, well, that happened. Like one of those sorts of jokes. um so I put jokes in quotes there. Yeah, so while humor definitely, weapons is another good example, humor definitely has a place in horror
Absolutely.
and in serious storytelling, uh but it's bad in this game.
Yeah, agreed. But I do I
Okay.
will as we wrap up, I will say I think it is worth playing. I think it is interesting. I think it has a certain vibe to it. Um that kind of makes it worth it, especially for people who like horror and really dark themes, and it can be a little cathartic.
And it's an indie dev. The game has 4 user reviews on Steam. So, it it could, you know, it's a project that's clearly somebody's, labor of love, and
Yeah.
if for only that reason, it is worth checking out.
That I can absolutely distinguish that it is like an artistic endeavor.
Yes.
100%. Yeah.
And it's clearly the, um, product of one person's imagination and hard work.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So that's Paradise Falls.
Okay. Can we
I
get on
do
to it now?
one more second, because there's something I want to point you in the direction of that I only played the first few minutes of. First like half hour of.
Okay.
There's a RPG that was released um just a couple days ago as of recording this, called People of Note,
Mhm.
and it is a turn-based musical RPG.
Ooh.
So you play an aspiring pop star who is she's trying to recruit a team of musicians to, and there's like some conspiracy trying to keep her from um achieving fame. Anyway, you're traveling around this very musical world. The characters sometimes burst into musical numbers, so it is a musical,
Mhm.
and the combat is musical. So you are
Cool.
like your turns are like musical phrases, and
Mhm.
you put your attacks kind of like in order on the musical notation, and then when like you deal damage through playing like short, like all your attacks are little rhythm games.
Yeah.
um Anyway, it's a cool idea. I don't So far I haven't loved the music,
Okay. That's
and
kind of important.
yeah, I know. I'm not sure if this is I'm not sure how good or bad this game is yet,
Okay.
but it is such a fucking interesting concept that I think if you have any curiosity at all, it's worth exploring.
Nice. I'll have to look into that.
That's People of Note by Iridium Studios.
Cute name.
Now, pushing a process.
Yes.
Do you want to throw on Miki Snellerino? And then we can talk about the game we're here to talk about today, Esoteric Ebb.
Yes! Woo! Save Your Game. I am one of your hosts, Pushing Up Roses. With me, as always, the nerdy but extremely cool
And
co-host of
sexy
mine, and sexy,
and
and
strong
shorter than you might think.
and fast.
Really fast. Super aerodynamic. Don't know how that works. But yeah, Matt Ocamp.
Hey! Oh, I didn't realize you were talking about me, but it's all
Oh.
true. I don't know.
It's all true.
You
Wait,
thought I was
who did you think
what?
we were talking about when I'm like, yeah, sure, sexy, aerodynamic, yeah. Who do you think that was about?
Well, the the person I get compared to the most, Ryan Gosling.
Oh, I do feel that way about Ryan Gosling. That's true. Would tap, honestly. I would tap that.
Ryan Gosling? I
Yeah.
think I think everybody will. I think
I think everyone would, yeah.
the only time people don't find Ryan Gosling the only time people aren't into Ryan Gosling, if they're attracted to men, are if some people find him just, like, so handsome that he might as well be like, a stick figure, right? Like, there's nothing, he's more of, like, the idea of a handsome guy than a
I agree.
handsome guy. I've
Yeah.
that is something I've
I
heard
don't
from
think he's
multiple
like
women.
I don't think he's like particularly like, whoa, super attractive guy.
Mhm.
I think he is a nice guy with some cool features, and he played Ken, but I am not attracted to him as Ken. That hair, no. No. No.
So, what we're here to talk about today is Ryan
Ryan
Gosling.
Gosling, yeah, and how I would tap that.
No, we are here to
Oh.
talk about Esoteric Ebb.
Yeah, speaking of Esoteric Ebb, can you
Ever
not
heard of it?
sex anybody? And, can you not, like, bond? You can bond with people, but what I'm asking is, can you sleep with them?
I think not.
Oh, poo.
I think you are very clearly supposed to be inept at romance. One of the
But wait, but I
Yeah,
asked someone out and they said yes.
I did get a yes. I also got a yes from one person. It
We'll talk about it.
seemed very reluctant though.
Mine was not reluctant. Mine was like, "Yeah, let's do it." I'm like, "Cool." And then it didn't happen, and I wanted it to happen in the game.
Is this person a
We'll
Actually, I
talk
don't
about
know.
it.
Okay,
Well, when we
alright.
start talking about the not the classes, but the political aspect of it, I suppose.
'Cause I actually got 2 yeses, 2
You got
dates.
2 yeses?
Yeah, from 2 the 2 toughest ladies in the game.
Yes, I got one from a very tough lady.
Alright. So, Esoteric Ebb, it is do you wanna try and describe it
Oh, yeah,
in
me with
it
my no experience in D&D. Let's go. Okay,
Okay.
so no, I'm gonna do it.
Good, good, good.
So Esoteric Ebb is a CRPG, or a computer role play game. The developer said that he was very inspired by Disco Elysium and obviously D&D. And this game is, I don't know how to explain this. It's extremely narrative. It's narrative uh first and foremost, front and center. And then it is also heavily not inspired by. It is a D&D game, right? It's not inspired by. I would say this is a D&D game.
I think you can't say it is a D&D game just because it's not D&D is like a brand and
It's a
it's not
brand. I know it's a
it's
brand.
yeah, it's not
Okay.
a licensed D&D game, but yes, it is very D&D inspired.
Right. So, you're making decisions based on dice rolls. You have classes that you can kind of upgrade. You start as a cleric. You do not get a choice in this. You have to be a cleric. But if you do what I did and loot everybody all the time, you could veer into being a rogue or a
So
roguelite.
this is it's if you've played Disco Elysium,
It's very similar.
it is yeah, it is very, very much Disco Elysium, but fantasy.
Right,
Um,
that's what it is, right? Because I feel like Disco Elysium, it had more low fantasy aspects of it, whereas Esoteric Ebb has high fantasy aspects. You're going to run into a griffin, you're gonna run into a sphinx, and you're gonna talk
absolutely.
to him. Yeah. And
And
it's
you and
Mm,
goblins and
yes.
bugbears and elves, and
I
you
like the
have
kobold, by the way. He's my favorite.
you do have spells that, like, you do have basically D&D spells.
Yeah.
And everything is based on your 6 D&D stats. You have your and you know what? Actually, this might be a good entry point into some of the themes of this game, because each stat is also sort of linked to a political party
Yeah.
and
Wait, which one is the rogue linked to?
the Free Striders.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, so
Oh.
they're all linked to a color, and you can see that color
Oh,
when
right.
you see that color appear throughout the game, um, and it lets you know what a certain thing, like a certain challenge's stat is, but it also lets you know, like, a person's political affiliation or a
Right,
quest's
right.
political
Yes.
affiliation or a decision. Um, so there's strength, which is the uh
The nationalist.
nationalists,
Yep.
yeah, which are like the MAGA of this world. They
Yeah.
are anti-immigrant. They believe they want a revolution that's based entirely on nationalism. They want to be,
Right.
like a isolationist
Yeah.
nation with closed borders, and they believe that the what's clearly the ruling class of this world are the oppressed class.
Right. My strength was very high because I like playing a strong rogue
Mhm.
in games like this, and so I kept having to listen to the strength, conversations. It's kinda like Disco Elysium where your
Yeah.
stats are kinda talking to you, like
Yes.
Constitution is a personality, Strength is its own personality. I hated listening to Strength. I'm like, "Shut up, Strength. Where is Dexterity? Where's my thief? I wanna talk to him."
It's way more yes, it's way more that way than Disco Elysium, I'll say, too,
Mhm.
because it's everything you encounter, basically all of your stats get to weigh in.
Mhm. Yes.
Um,
It's
and they
fun.
all have very distinct voices, and the strength is always like, "Be a
Honor.
man
Do
and
the honorable thing.
do the
Beat up
honorable
everybody. Like, "What?"
fight everybody, do
Yeah.
be honorable, don't be stoic, don't show emotion," right? And then
Right.
there's, uh there's dexterity, which
Mhm.
is the free striders. And they are basically like the libertarian party of this world. They believe in free trade and freedom above all else, including like a laissez-faire market.
Right.
This is like the rogue class, and I love playing a rogue, but I
Yeah, I do
did
too.
not identify with the free striders. So
Yeah, that's why I asked, and that's why my response was a little confused because I was like, "Oh, okay." Because usually when we
yeah.
say, like, libertarian, they're mostly centrist, although I would say in this game, they're more left than
Well,
center in this game.
I think so. Well, because libertarianism is based around an ideal of liberalism.
Right.
Um, but as they point out in this game, right, several times, f- free striderism is sort of the way to make sure nothing. It's the path of the least change.
Yeah.
Because by removing any controls on the free market, you are allowing corporations and the rich to do whatever the fuck they want to everybody
Right,
else, right?
right,
And
right.
as some people in this game have already like point out occasionally, they already do that. That's
Mhm.
already how it is in this world.
Right, right.
This would just be making that codified into law.
Yeah.
Um so but because they have these liberal ideals, oftentimes when you're in dialogues, even if you don't agree with libertarianism politically, they will be an attractive option when you're
Yeah,
talking to somebody, because you'll be like,
yeah. Oh, I
'Cause
found myself sympathizing
you'll be like,
with that, yeah.
freedom from control and oppression, right? Like
You know what this game is very good at, actually, and we'll talk about it more, is, not sympathizing with every it's not cl what am I not class, what am I trying to say? Yeah, class. Not sympathizing with every class and every political party, but it's good at understanding intention
right.
and putting it out there and having kind of this very measured look at things without without being problematic about it, I guess.
Right, I think even the nationalists, when you talk to the nationalists are just a bunch of fucking kids, and
Yeah.
a bunch of fucking poor kids
Bunch of
who
brats, honestly.
refuse to get jobs because well, they don't get jobs because the kids are clearly, like, lazy, they don't want the kind of jobs that they're saying that the immigrants are taking, and that's what
Right.
happens in the rest of the world too, like,
That's what
they don't
happens in the real world a lot of the
yeah, these
time as
fucking people
well.
don't
Yeah.
want to be farmers and factory workers and whatnot, but they'll complain about how there's
Right.
no jobs because the immigrants are taking all the farm and factory jobs. And that's what the kids are in this game. But it's so clear they're just kids who are poor
Yeah.
and don't know who to
They don't know
blame
what they're
their
doing.
shit
Yeah.
on. And instead of looking at the rich and being like, yeah, the rich are oppressing us and those are the people we need to push back against, they go, yeah, the rich are oppressing all of us, so I have to
Mhm.
climb to the top of the pile of garbage.
Right.
Which again isn't very MAGA.
Right.
um,
And then
so then, mhm. Yeah, go ahead.
definitely explain the other classes. So we did the nationalists, we did free strider.
I'm gonna jump down to what is a little easier to understand.
Yeah.
The ones that are easier to understand. So wisdom
Yes.
is the Asgalists. Um, Asgalists are like the communist socialist party, and
Right.
that's again that's governed by wisdom. And that is like we should keep corporations and corporate interests in check by uh supporting unions and workers' rights, and
Mhm.
we should open our borders and
Mhm.
allow for and like the idea of nation states is oppressive to the working class already,
Right.
and they are the party that believes in equal distribution of wealth.
Sure.
So that's your wisdom stat. That is like that's generally like your clericy stat. Usually,
Mhm.
like your priests, your clerics, they go by wisdom.
Right.
Um, in this game, your wisdom often is just like the voice of reason in most
Yeah. My
circumstances.
wisdom was very low because I just
Same.
wanted to loot everything. There's something wrong with me, and it's coming out in how I play these games.
You know, looking at this chart here, actually, it equates wisdom with the druid.
Okay, is intelligence maybe? Intelligence the
So I got it wrong. So
Asgalites?
cleric is strength, nationalist and
Yes,
cleric.
that's what I
Okay,
thought. I was
my
listening
fault.
to you and
I
nodding,
got
but
it.
yes, I was like, I think cleric is strength.
Yeah, I think I got it. I got that
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
Because it's barbarian is a constitution, right?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so then the next one that I think is easy to understand is the Arcanists,
Yeah.
which is this world was ruled at one time. Okay, first it was ruled by snails.
Beautiful.
We should say this is a funny game.
Yes.
We're talking
I
about
you
very
know,
serious themes here, but this game is fucking funny.
it's very funny and it reminded me or enlightened me that D&D can be so unserious. It can be so fun and
Yeah.
so funny and
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 failure
magical.
should be an opportunity, not a
Yeah.
consequence.
And like imaginative. I think that's the word I'm going for
It's
here
very
is it is
imaginative.
funny and whimsical and imaginative and just anything you can imagine in a world is there. So I loved the snails. Bring the
There's
snails
a
back is what
there's
I
a lot
say.
of there's a lot of adventure time in this game. There's a lot of Terry Pratchett in this game.
There is. Yeah,
Um,
that's
if
true.
you sort of if you sort of merge those with the humor of Disco Elysium, if you merge the humor of all three of those things and
Mhm.
the imagination of all three of those things, I think you do get something really close to this game.
Yeah, and the
So
humor is just it's right up my alley.
It's
anytime.
it's smart and dumb and okay,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna say just anytime. So our character, who's a cleric,
Mhm,
he's a little, like he's a little bumbling.
mhm.
He's also like, you can play it, in most RPGs, you can play your character a certain way. I liked playing my character enthusiastically instead of stoically. So, when you're
Yes.
talking to people, you get dialogue options, and that kind of guides what your character is like and how they talk.
Right.
I was always like, if some, do you have a quest for me? I love quests. I love, what do you mean you don't have a quest? Is that a quest?
Yeah,
I got an achievement for it actually because
for
I was
asking people
so
for
intense.
quests.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I liked playing my character very enthusiastically. I still was very serious about like the politics within it and trying to help people and sympathize with their cause.
Mhm.
But also I'm just like, quest? Quest? I like quests.
Most of the
And that's
time,
the adventure gamer in me, right?
in this game, the you shouldn't necessarily always pick the best option.
Correct.
I
Yes,
think
correct.
it is far more fun to play this game to pick the most interesting option, and the game tells you this in the game, right? Doesn't it say something early on? There's some I'm trying to think of where and how, but there's some part of, I think, the tutorial that tells you to pick the most interesting option, or maybe it's, like, hidden in dialogue that it's clear
Mhm.
that they're talking to the player. I
Right.
honestly can't remember.
Yeah.
But but, uh yeah, this game is super funny. So even though we're
Yeah.
talking about some of the serious stuff now, it's important to keep that in mind. Um,
Can we talk about some of the storyline? Because that's gonna align with
we
these
will.
classes that we're talking
All
about.
right, then I'll go through the other classes
Yeah.
pretty quickly then. So then the next one that's easy to understand, yeah, is the wizard. The intelligence aligns with the wizard, and that aligns with the arcanist. So yeah, this world was ruled by snails, and
Beautiful.
and then it's been ruled by like it's a mageocracy. It's about upper class rule. It's about
Right.
it's like it's another kind of you could you could I think accurately call this fascism too.
Yeah.
It is about the elites having it's about demolishing democracy and letting the elites
Right.
control um this world. Though like
Right.
the wizards are on top.
Which, like,
And
sometimes that sounds appealing, but then you realize that everyone's a dick and they're just gonna fuck
right.
it up.
Yes.
You
But
know?
they make the same point. Some people in this game make the same point about democracy, which is
Sure.
not unfair.
Yeah.
Um, and then the last one, this is the one I know kind of the least about. It's constitution. That's your health. That's aligned with um, the
The barbarians.
barbarian.
Yeah.
And I think this is the agrarian party,
Okay.
which
I feel
is
like that wasn't touched on as much as some of these other parties that we were kind of involved in.
agreed. This is like the rural farm
Oh, right.
party, and it's like it's in the game. Pretty much anytime there's any talk of the agrarians, it's subsumed
Mhm.
by talk of the Asgalists. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to
Is that
think of.
also like
I can't.
because there was talk in this game about like the farmers and like the
Yeah.
agriculturists? Is that aligned with the barbarians?
Yes, and I can't think of like who in the game was an agrarian
Right.
and like I can't even think of very many agrarian choices I could have made.
I
I'm
can't
looking at
either.
my I pulled it up on my Steam Deck just to see, and I can't it I have 0 points.
Right.
I answered 0 questions with an
Because I feel
agrarian
like
point of
in the
view.
game when that was brought up, I have a very very clear memory of the cleric
Yeah.
being like, "Yeah, I wish we could bring those back, the agriculture." It seems like it's more of an obsolete like
Yes.
class.
Right. I don't know. I will wanna play this game again, so maybe
Oh,
I'll,
yeah.
like, look for it. And then your last one is charisma, which is apolitical, and it's just you wanna get
Right.
along with
Yeah,
everybody. Uh,
you don't have to do shit if you don't want to.
right? And that's aligned with the what class is that?
I don't know if it is. I think it is just
It's on the table, but I can't
hmm,
I don't know what class that is.
okay.
Anyway,
I never
uh,
did that. I rarely was mutual about anything. There might have been, like, one question where I was like, "I don't know."
I have one apolitical I've 1 point in apolitical. I don't know
Okay.
I don't
I don't
know
know what
when
it
I
was.
answered something apolitically, but I have 1 point in apolitical. Because you can go into you can open up, like, your quest map at any point, and you can kinda
Right.
see who you how many times you behaved like a rogue versus
Right.
barbarian versus wizard, and how many times you answered for the Asgalists versus the yeah. Because you don't know it doesn't always tell you exactly who you're so sometimes you're just saying kind of what you believe
Right.
in a
Yeah.
situation, and then
True.
you've just aligned. And same thing happened in Disco Elysium. And when we're talking about classes here, you are always a cleric,
Yes.
but you can go around telling people you're something else.
You can which I did, and I found it so funny. Every time I'm like, "Actually, I'm more of a rogue, a real sneaky type."
Exactly. I told everybody I was a rogue all the time.
So funny.
Um,
That's so or I would say I'm the cleric because I also found that vaguely funny.
the
So, yeah,
cleric was funny.
it is
Um,
funny.
yeah, as I'm looking around, like, I'm, like, Googling, and I don't think maybe you're right, maybe there is not a class associated with charisma.
Yeah, I don't think there is. I think that is
Wild.
just simply, like, apolitical.
Why is there a bar for it on the class side then? I don't get it. How do I fill
No.
that up? I'm gonna play a version of this game where I just use charisma and constitution constantly and see if we can
Do
find
it.
some of these things. Um, yeah, and some of the characters that are purple are like the weird alligator that hangs out in the sewers,
Kraid. I love him.
and eats he makes
Slog
friends with
dogs.
rats, and he eats what were they called?
Slog dogs.
Slog dogs. Alright, so now we can let's yeah, I think why don't you start walking people through? So now you
Yeah.
kinda understand what this world looks like a little bit.
Yeah. You're a cleric, you get your, you get your stat sheet, distribute them, kind of how you want to. And then you wake up in this weird, it's called like a lich house. Am I
Lich
pronouncing
House.
that right, by the way? Lich?
Yes.
Okay. Um, it's actually quite hilarious. You wake up in almost a morgue and it's filled with apples. Just apples everywhere. In fact, the first thing I tried to do, and I'm pretty inexperienced with D&D, so I want you to imagine because you know how like animated and reactive I can be. The
Uh-huh.
glee that I had when I was like, "I want to eat through this mound of apples," and I,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
rolled for it. I'm like, "This is the best game I've ever played." I ate 5 and then he got sick. It didn't
Yeah,
work.
yeah.
But just the fact that I could do that, and
Yes.
that was actually the first dice roll that I had, so I could see what kind of mechanic that we're dealing with here. Um, so you wake up there, and that's kind of where your quest begins. You go upstairs and you can talk to oh gosh, I forget his name. Oh, Viskin. You can talk
Viskin.
to a character named Viskin who is very strange.
Yes.
And you will reveal that you have been brought here to essentially investigate an explosion that
Yes.
happened in the tea house in a town called Tolstad. Um, it's very cool, right? They give you kind of a mystery to look into, and
Yes.
you have to go around like not interrogating, but you question people. You ask, "Hey, where were you? What did you see? Did you see any witnesses
Who are you
at the
voting
tea
for in the upcoming
house? Who are
election?
you voting for?" Because
Yes.
it is tied together, as we all know
Yeah.
that these kind of things can be tied to political motivation. And so, yeah, a tea house or a tea shop, sorry, not a tea house, a tea shop has exploded in Tolstad, and we are there to investigate it. Why
Yeah.
did this happen? Was it arson? Because it was like it exploded, but it was like set on fire. It burned down essentially.
And there were, as far as anybody knows, there was no casualties. Nobody was in the
As
tea
far
shop
as
at
we
the
know,
time.
yeah, there's no casualties, and so our this is just great already. It's like I'm given a quest already. It's a mystery, and like I'm on it, and then from there you can you can play this linearly if you want to. I'm sure I did because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. It always takes me a day to like understand what I'm doing in an RPG type of a game. But yeah, you follow leads based on information you get from people you talk to uh, around Tolstad, and the map kind of grows as you get leads, as you
Mhm.
find different places to explore and loot and find people to talk to. The main town is called Tolstad, but there's also something called the city below, which is kind of like the catacombs.
Mhm.
It's very much like dungeon crawlery. I spent a lot of time
Yes.
there. Um, there's another town called Waterlane. Um, I really like this map like a hell of a lot.
Mhm.
Yes, I got lost because I think that's just a me problem. But in
I got
terms,
lost a bunch too.
oh, did you?
By the end, I wasn't getting lost anymore, but at the beginning, I was like the
Yeah.
first half of the game, probably, I just kept getting lost.
I would say that this has a little bit of a learning curve in that so the way I play these games is I just play them until I understand the mechanic because
Okay.
I find it difficult when a game is giving me all these instructions. I'm like, I'm a hands-on person. I don't get what you're telling me. I have
Okay.
no clue what you're telling me right now. So I did spend like my first time playing this just playing it so I could understand the mechanic and how
Right.
casting spells work and how the dice rolls work. And in
So
fact, you want to hear something really funny?
yes.
I didn't know that you could use the Shard of Jor for any reason whatsoever. Yep,
So
that's me.
you collect these things around the world called the shards of Jor, and you can use them to retry a dice roll. There are some dice rolls that are situational, and you can only try
Yeah,
them once, and then they're gone. And there's some other dice rolls that it's like, uh, they'll sit there. You can try it as many times as you want, but it not until after you have done taken a rest,
right. Yes.
or you can use a shard of Jor to do it
To like
immediately.
unlock it. So let's say you failed a dice roll. Let's say I'm trying to loot someone and I need a roll of 10 or above. I get like an 8. I failed. It's locked now.
Mhm.
And you can either wait for it to unlock or you can use a Shard of Jor to unlock it right away and try it
Right.
again. Do you know how many shards I have? Because I didn't use any of them. I used none of them. I didn't know.
That's so funny.
So that's me. That's how I play these types of games.
So
Um,
the other thing that's happening at this time is there's an election that's about to
yes.
occur. There's not I, this is something I'm not 100% clear on, but
Mhm.
I think there's not often elections. Elections are
Yeah.
rare,
Yeah.
um, but they're uh, the person in charge is I don't know, like, retiring. I don't. This was a little. It was a little hard for me, and I didn't start to put that together
Yeah.
until actually the very end.
And
But
I'm
it's
assuming that election day that these things align in that you have to figure out the mystery that you're presented before
before
election
election
day.
day, because you really early on recognize that this has something to do with the election. You have
Right.
no idea what,
Right.
but this has something to do with the political forces in this world, the Free Striders, the Asgalists, the struggle between the Free Striders and the Asgalists, who are the two most popular political
Yeah.
parties.
I
And
sympathize with those parties, I think, the most out of all the parties.
yes, I found myself pretty much always siding with the Asgalists,
Mhm.
um, but saying some Free Strider sympathetic things here and there.
Yeah, because you can kind of understand their plight when you talk to the free striders. Like when you talk, I also asked a free strider out, and she said yes.
Yeah, so I got a date with that Free Strider, but it required some difficulty checks.
Hmm.
And then her friend, there's a bugbear in the
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
in the city below.
I couldn't prove myself to her.
I
She didn't wanna go on a date.
I asked her on a date, she doesn't go. She says, "You ask her out to dinner or whatever," and she says, "No." And then she's like, "But come down after the election and we'll spar." And you're like, "It's
Oh!
a date." And she's like, "Well, no, it's not." And you're like, "I got." And you turn to Snell. Snell is a goblin who you get we'll talk about this in a second. You get
Yeah.
paired up with. He's the Kitsuragi of this game.
Yes, yes. I
Um
love giving Snell a fucking hard time.
And you kinda turn to Snell and you're like, "I got that." Like, you basically, like, elbow him like, "I got the
Right.
date."
Got a date. Got it. Nailed
Um,
it.
so it's hard to not talk about the similarities to Disco Elysium here because in
Mhm.
Disco Elysium, again, you have a mystery that you have to solve that turns out to have something to do with you have to understand the broader political spheres of that world, the small
Yes.
little world well, big world, small area
Right.
in which to experience this whole huge world.
Right.
Um, just like one little piece of a city.
Mhm.
And you have one of the factions, one of the political factions here, in this case, the goblins, um, have a vested interest in seeing you solve this case.
Yes.
You don't
Yes.
exactly know what that interest is.
Right.
Um, and the goblins are they're called the halfway bridge tribe, and they seem to be really tied to all of the trade interests in the city.
Yeah.
Um, but they have they have a really strong interest in seeing this solved, as do the arcanists, who are the state who you work for.
Yeah.
So you get a little Kim Kitsuragi, you get a little
I
goblin that
love
follows
the
you
yeah.
around and
I mean,
constantly is like,
the
"What the fuck are you doing?"
person that gives you kind of this tea quest, is a goblin. Her name is, Lady Sageleaf? Is it
Do
Sageleaf?
you, but you Yes, it's Sage Leaf, but you kind of have that's interesting because you do kind of have this quest before you meet Lady Sage
Okay,
Leaf.
she's just deeply involved. Like when you
Yes,
go talk to
yes.
her in the Goblin Garden, which is so cute and so amazing. She really wants us to keep her apprised on the tea shop investigation. She seems really
Yes.
involved. She gives us a party member, Snell, who is fucking great. He wouldn't
He's
let
great.
me do anything stupid. I gave him such a hard time. I'm like, dude,
Did
I'm
you
gonna
try to
jump into this well. Like,
I was gonna say, did you try
absolutely.
to jump down the well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, no.
Did you
I'm
ever
like,
get down
what?
the well?
No, I didn't.
Actually, I knew that because you told me there's a character you've never met. Uh,
Yes.
and
I gotta go back a little bit because I do wanna see some of the things that I missed.
there's a secret to getting down the well that you just
Cool.
have to talk to a character. There's a character who will just tell you about it, but
That's awesome. Yes, I was giving Snell such a hard time. He's like, "What? No, don't jump down there." I'm like, "But I could've. I could
there's
have
a
done it, Snell."
there's also just you have so many quests. There's a bunch of other
There's so
mysteries
many.
that you
Yeah.
encounter. There's and some of them are hilarious and
Yeah.
just stupid and funny. For example, one of the quests that I got that I think you didn't get was to sell milk.
Yeah, I don't know what that one is, but I want that. I'm definitely going this is a game that has save slots.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for save slots. So I will go back before, end game, before election day, and I will try to get these quests that I didn't get.
So one of you talk to there's a would you consider it a spoiler if I tell you who gives you the milk quest?
No, I don't
Okay.
no, personally no.
So there's like a kobold at the very beginning of the game who's a real weirdo, and he's
Wait, well,
Viskin's kind of like
he gives you the quest?
bodyguard, and he's so weird. You can talk to him at the beginning, you can get into a staring contest with
I
him.
love him. He's
You can I think you
adorable,
Yeah. You can steal his crossbow.
which I didn't do because I thought he was too cute.
I did, I stole his crossbow. It's like one of the first things I did in the game. Well, I tried to eat all the
Matt.
apples, then I tried to fight the zombie, then I stole the guy's crossbow.
How dare I do love that the game acknowledges kind of the cuteness of some of these D&D inspired
Mhm.
characters, because you can tell them like, you are so cute. What
His name
an
is
adorable,
Usht.
you are such an adorable creature.
Usht. Um,
Oost, yeah.
and uh, you can also you find out that he's got like a little scam where he goes
Really?
around selling milk,
I did
and you
not
can
get
convince him.
that.
You can convince him a little later in the game to giving you the milk
Mhm.
and allowing you to try and get people to buy the milk. And he
That's
tells
funny.
you you're gonna want to find a rich human because this milk is $20,000. And you have to pay me back. You have to pay me back for all this milk. And
That's so funny.
so for the rest of the game, anytime I met a human, I was asking them if they wanted to buy milk. At
For
some point,
20,000 crowns?
yes, at some point I meet a god and I ask the god if he wants to buy milk. Like this is this it's so funny. It's similar to you can ask everybody who they're voting for,
Yep.
including at one point I woke up an ancient snail who's been dead or in stasis for
Yeah, in
like
stasis.
10,000 years or something like
Mhm.
that. And I
Mhm.
wake him up and I can ask him basically immediately, who are you voting for in the upcoming election?
I felt so bad for that character because he doesn't know what the fuck is going on.
I asked a crab, I asked a wall, I asked a sphinx,
Loved it. I loved talking to the walls.
I asked a cat, I asked everything who they're voting for in the election, and it's just so funny.
You wanna hear something, like, super funny? I
Yes.
went to the how do we pronounce this? Asgalite? Is that how you pronounce that? Asgalite?
The
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 workers.
the workers of the Asgal I say Asgalist, but it might be Asgalite.
Oh, Asgalist, okay. I found, like, their little, like, point of like, their little business, like,
Yeah.
their where they operate out of, and,
Yes.
like, it's very clear by this point in the game who they're voting for.
Mhm.
And so I asked one of the characters, her name is Modissa, I'm like, "So who are you voting for?" And her response was like, "Are you
Are you
are you
kidding?
kidding me?"
Yeah, exactly. She tells you she's voting for the, agrarians, and you can believe her. And she just, like, shakes her head at you.
It's
Because
very,
this is
very
the thing,
funny.
you are a bumbling idiot.
Yeah.
You live with you're a cleric who lives with his mom, who who is a virgin, canonically.
Yeah.
He has never he is horrible at talking to women, and every time you meet a woman in this game, he there is an option to flirt with them, like, he
Yeah.
tries to romance them, and generally you can fail so bad at flirting that you die.
You can die of embarrassment in
Yes,
this game, which I think is very funny. I think there was kind of a
which is
similar mechanic in
my first
Disco,
that's
right?
my first death. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
You know what I
it's
like about that though? About
yeah,
his interest in women? He
uh
only likes extremely strong, non-conventional looking women, and I'm like, "I like that." Because I was flirting with like a more in this within this world, right? A more conventionally
Mhm.
attractive female character at a bar. And my character is like, "Ah, I'm not interested in that. I like strong women."
Yeah,
So,
he expresses kinda disgust if you try to go
yeah.
that route,
He
which is
wants
very
somebody to beat him the fuck up. It's very funny.
You can and in that same bar, you can flirt with an ancient sphinx. Um,
Yeah, she did not appreciate that, from
so
me at least.
you have to pass a DC 30 charisma check to flirt with the sphinx, and
That's
that
almost
is the
impossible.
game tells you that is godlike.
Yeah,
You have to have a godlike amount of skill to pass anything over 20.
yeah.
And eventually, I
Oh,
saved
did
my
you get it?
game and I used all my shards and
That's
I put
so
on all
funny.
my charisma modifying objects
Wow,
and I flirted with her. Like it took me like 6 or 7 times
that's funny.
and it is very funny. Everything you fucking do in this game is
Yeah.
funny.
I think we should talk about the other party members because
Sure.
you can get 2 more. I should say this, you do not have to equip them. You don't even have to keep Snell in your party. You can actually send him home. I don't
Correct.
recommend that. I think it's better with the party members and you have a better time fighting if you
Uh-huh.
run into enemies. Um, but one party member I quote party member because they kind of stay in your inventory, is just the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. You get to equip a mimic who looks
Yes!
like your tunic. He like looks like a little scarf, and he's like a
Yes.
little puppy dog, and he's just so happy to have like a new master because we treat him better than the
Yes.
last master. And I just love it. I loved having this mimic in my
And he's great.
inventory.
He helps you with he helps you, um, basically with traps. Like,
Yeah.
if you're in a dangerous situation, he will warn you of dangers coming up, and he'll give you advice, some of it bad, but
Yes.
he's great. His name's Meek.
Meek,
Um
he's so oh my gosh, he's so cute. I was so thrilled. It reminded me of having, like, Rotten Tomato in my inventory from King's Quest VI. I don't know if you recall that, but
Yes, I do.
yeah, and you can talk to him in your inventory. Although Rotten Tomato was very grumpy, Meek
Yes.
is not very
Meek is
grumpy.
so excited to be
He's
joining
so
you.
excited to just be alive. And then the other party member, one of my favorite characters that I really wanted to flirt with, but just didn't want to mess up the mechanic, and I didn't know about the Shards of Jor, is Atir, who is an angel, essentially. She is like
Y
an angelic, very ancient
She's a
character.
celestial, yeah.
Yeah, she's so cool. I loved. Now,
She's cool, and this is the one person that, aside from just flirting with, um aside from just getting horned up by,
yeah,
the cleric seems to maybe have feelings for.
I think so too. I think the cleric
Mhm.
likes Atir a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause there's when you very early on, you can look at her and he's like, "You will protect her."
Yes.
Like, protect her at all
He had a love
costs.
at first sight thing going
Um,
on.
and I think you can flirt with her,
You can,
but you don't push it the way you do with other characters.
right?
And it keeps coming back in small ways. So I think there is like a I don't think you're both of us stopped this game after we faced the final conflict in kind of like the epilogue on election
Right.
day, where you can go
Yes.
around and talk to every character who you've already encountered and just kind of like wrap things up
Which is
with.
kind of fun. I love that.
Same, and I wanted to take my time with it, so I didn't
Mhm.
wanna rush it, so I saved it there. Um, I don't think at the very end of this game, you are going to have a romantic connection with it here, but
Probably not.
I
No.
do think that that is part of, like that is, like, an undercurrent in the
Yes.
cleric's psychology.
I agree. And I think maybe also because she is a party member, um like historically you don't really romance your party members in other CRPGs. Um
Huh.
I can't really recall one where I did that. Like but again, it's in a CRPG, maybe you wouldn't have as many people in your party as you would like in a D&D game in person cuz at one given time I only had 3 other party members, and that was Snell, Meek, and Atir. And Atir only joins you
Uh-huh.
for the catacombs, for the city below, for the very 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 dangerous parts of this world.
I think in a D&D game in person, you shouldn't romance your fellow party members.
Probably a bad idea, let's be honest.
But I think like Baldur's Gate is well known for you can romance your
Ah,
party members,
okay,
and I
fair.
think like Mass Effect and those kind of like what's the Star Wars one that's kind of like Mass Effect? Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, those are games you can usually like you sort of choose at some point who of your party you want to romance.
Right.
Um but so it's not uncommon in CRPGs. We did talk about this before cuz you were tell people what this game reminded you of.
No.
No, I don't it's not embarrassing and I wanted
Okay.
to, I think it's interesting to talk about.
Okay, I think for me, and maybe my experience is a little limited, but I was getting a lot of Quest for Glory 5 vibes.
Right.
Like all the time. Like especially in terms of like I am in this city, this world that's alive, and people are moving and doing things, and there's
Yeah.
merchants, and there's interesting characters that are non-human, and even like some of the music I almost felt like, oh, that's like identical, not identical, you know what I mean, but very,
Sure, sure, sure.
it's very similar to some of the similar Silmaria
Right.
town music. And yeah, and obviously when I played Quest for Glory 5, I played a thief. I fucking looted everyone, and that's how I played it here too. So
Yeah.
very basic vibes, right? But no, yeah, I just maybe because there was a similar mythology vibe there,
And
I
there's
got to
humor in
yeah, there's
both.
humor.
I
Yeah.
think I think what's interesting is, yeah, like, I think you don't play that many RPGs.
I don't.
And
So maybe I
so
don't have a point of reference. But do you think here's a
right, so
question.
it's kind of like you get, and that, which is an interesting perspective to look at it through. If you're not a person
Mhm.
who's played a lot of RPGs, to be like t looking at a game like this through a more limited,
Yeah.
set
I
of
mean, I've
experience, I
played a
think
lot
is
of
interesting.
JRPGs, and those don't
Those
align
are
for me.
yes, very
Yeah,
different,
yeah.
and
Do you think
you
I
don't.
would still have this opinion if I played more? Do you think there's merit in saying, "Hey, I see the similarities between some of the tropes of Quest for Glory versus Esoteric Ebb?"
I don't think it would have sprung to mind, right?
Huh,
Like, I think, and maybe there are moments, like, especially, like, when you say about the song that's similar, and there may be moments that might remind you of it, and then, but
right,
I think the comparison that you would draw, um, I think would be I think you'd go to say Baldur's Gate, maybe
right.
Divinity: Original Sin. The thing
Yeah.
the thing that
I didn't like
I
Divinity. I felt it was, like, super tedious.
and supposedly Planescape, yeah, I felt that way about Divinity: Original Sin
Yeah.
also. And same, like, Planescape. When remember listeners might remember when we had Francisco Gonzalez on to talk about Disco Elysium.
Mhm.
He recommended that we play Planescape Torment because it
Yeah.
is a non-combat focused RPG that
Mhm.
was a strong influence on Disco Elysium.
Yeah,
And
I mean, that's a classic. I remember being on, like,
mhm,
Home of the Underdogs, and there was some overlap between,
yeah.
like, Planescape, because there were some adventure elements to it because it was such a strong narrative. I remember seeing it, but I never did anything about it at the time, but, yeah, it's a huge influence on especially CRPGs.
Yeah, and it's a big influence here too, I think.
Yeah.
And so there's a game that came out in 2021 from World Walker Games. It's called Wildermyth. That I think I want to go now, having played this, I want to go back and check out. It doesn't have, so this, like Disco Elysium, almost everything occurs in dialogue. Like, you can walk around and
Mhm.
point and click to interact with your environment, but all of those bring up dialogues. And
Right.
then even any interaction you have is based on choices from a dialogue, either dialogue with another character or dialogue with
Mhm.
yourself. Um, that's
Do you
not the
think it was
case.
too long-winded?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm
Um,
glad we're on the same page because yeah, I understand this is a narrative game. I get it. I did feel like there was a lot of dialogue and Disco's like that too, but for some reason I felt like there was more here and that it started wearing on me a little
this
bit.
always frustrates me because I wish I were it makes me really feel like my ADHD. It makes me feel, you know how ADHD can make people feel dumb?
Yes.
I When this happens to me, I feel like a dumb guy.
Yeah.
So, as I was playing this game, I was like, "I wish I had the patience to not feel like this is overwhelming."
Yeah.
I don't feel like this is too much. Like, honestly, I don't feel like this is too much dialogue. I feel like I am being impatient about it.
I don't feel
And
that way. I don't have ADHD and I felt that it
okay.
was it was wearing on me a little bit. And that tends to happen when I find things are starting to sound redundant. I'm a very concise writer. I
Mhm,
that
mhm.
was my style when I studied fiction writing. I like very terse, like concise things.
Okay.
This is not that. This is extremely like we're going to hear about an event a million times over. So when it starts to get
Sure.
redundant like that, that's when it starts wearing on me.
Okay, that's fair. Um,
Yeah.
but I loved I guess what I'm trying to say is I loved the writing in this game
Yeah.
so
I did too.
much
Yeah.
that me having the feeling this is too much writing seemed like, but I love this writing so much. Why am I not wanting just more and more of it? Why,
Right.
like, I wish I had more patience with it, and I was just taking my time and
Mhm.
letting myself just love every moment of it. But you're
I
right.
think I think
I
I
found
kind of
myself
understand where some of that impatience is coming from, though. I don't
okay.
know if you feel like how I feel, but I in my brain, as I'm going through a long dialogue, there is this excitement behind it that something cool is gonna happen after this dialogue, and I think I get
Sure.
yeah, I think I, like, preempt that, and then I get a little impatient with it.
Sure. I think that's what's happening to me too, is
Yeah.
like, "Oh, what's the cool thing? What's the cool thing?" And then I get impatient.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I really wish that I could get that under control, and I wish I could have just, like, sat back and just read everything as if I was reading a good book
Yeah.
and enjoyed it, and I don't know, maybe sometime in my like, maybe the next time I approach this, I will talk to myself ahead like, the next time I play this
Yeah.
game I'm gonna play this game again at some point.
Yeah, same.
Maybe the next time I play this game, I'm gonna just, like, sit myself down and talk to myself, right? And be like, "Listen, you love the writing in this game. You're gonna
Yeah.
love every moment of this game. You do not have to rush through it. You do not have to be like, worried or overly
Right.
excited about what comes next. Just, like, be zen about it. Enjoy every moment, and then maybe, like, maybe I'll enjoy this game even more because that's what I wanted to feel the entire time I was playing."
You know, I this is not the first time I've struggled with a mechanic like this. I
Yeah,
struggled a little bit in disco as well.
same.
And I wonder if it's because I'm not I think I'm kind of what you're saying is resonating with me is I don't think I'm looking at it like a book. I think
Yeah,
that I'm not taking the dialogue as a game mechanic as seriously as I need to, as this is an important part, and it's just as important as other events that happen in the game. I think I'm struggling with that.
the thing that makes games addictive is it working on me here, right? Like where I'm like, "Oh, I wanna increase my stats. Ooh,
Right.
I wanna succeed at checks. Ooh,
Right.
I wanna get cool items,
Right.
and I wanna solve my quests."
Yep.
And I think I need to when I play a game like this, I think I need to, again, sit back and say to myself, like, "Look, this is a book you're reading. It is a this is a piece of work that every part of it is worthwhile and just, like, enjoy it. Because
Right.
there's these really word-heavy games, um, that I have had on my kind of, like, to play list for a while, like, I Was a Teenage Exocolonist or
Mhm.
The Life and Suffering of Sir Bronte,
Yeah.
um Road Warden, uh, that I dug up after playing Heaven's Vault, which was also very wordy, and Disco Elysium, and I was like, "I love these, and I wanna play so many more." But, yeah, there's this impatience in me that wants to just do game stuff.
Same. I think that's an interesting thing to struggle with as gamers because it's like in general we love interactive fiction, we love narrative heavy games, but
Yeah,
sometimes we don't always take it seriously as a mechanic, as part of the gameplay.
right.
You know? So, yeah, I get a little impatient reading things because in my brain, game equals I gotta do stuff. And that
Right.
is doing something, it's reading. But it's hard for me to like you said, it's hard for me to hunker down and just be chill and just enjoy it like a book.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, but anyway, so this game made me think of Wildermyth, which is a very storytelling based game, and it is very your choices. So in your choices change the narrative, and it is like you're working with a dungeon master, which
Mhm.
sometimes this game feels like that, right? Um, but to talk about the linear or branching nature of Esoteric Ebb, I think your story is going to generally be the same. Almost
Yes.
just like Disco Elysium, almost every major event is going to happen to every person who plays the game.
Yeah.
Your choices um, will affect small things. Your relationships with people, your um, relationships to yourself, I guess,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
items that you're holding, um, basically it'll give you different dialogue and options at times, but all the events themselves will be almost identical,
Yes.
except for some major differences where it's like there's sometimes you can avoid a conflict entirely
Mhm.
because you have the right information or you have the right skill set to
Mhm.
de-escalate.
Right.
Um, Notably, and we are going to have to there will be a short little, I think, like 5-minute spoiler section here where we
Sure.
talk about the very end because we were talking about this just before we recorded.
Mhm.
Um, the end of the game,
We
me and you
played it
had very
differently. Yeah.
different final encounters.
Yeah.
And as a result, I think both of me and you think different things about um, the antagonist of this game,
Right.
who I think you
Right.
would call the villain of this game, and I would just simply call the antagonist.
Right.
What else do we want to say about this game? This game, you should play it. If you're listening to this, you should play. Like, I think
It's
this is
so
one of those.
fun.
Just like Disco Elysium, I think everybody will like this game. Like,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. I was just so delighted. I get such a delight from games like this, from like
yeah,
the fantasy element and quirky characters. So many quirky characters. There's not a shortage of that.
it's smart, it's political, it's fun, it's stupid, it's silly, it's uh exciting, it's so fucking funny, it's
So funny.
colorful and bright.
It is very colorful. Yes, I clocked that. I really love the aesthetic choice for this game.
That's what brings the Adventure Time sort of comparison up in my
Mhm.
head. Um that and some of the absurdist humor. But
Sure.
yeah, this game rules. You should play it. We haven't, if in case we haven't mentioned the name in a while, it's Esoteric Ebb.
Yes.
I guess it's also in the title of the fucking
It's
show.
a don't worry, they know.
They know, they know. Um, and it's really great. Do we want to do a quick spoiler section and talk about our endings?
Sure, let's do a quick spoiler. Spoiler alert,
Spoiler
everybody.
alert. We'll give you. We'll talk about something stupid in the game just to give you a minute or so to jump ahead. Did you collect all the rats?
No, I couldn't find him. I found 2. So sad.
I did get them all. You don't One of them does take a while to get,
Really? Huh.
but I did get all the rats, and it's so funny, I didn't even put together all of them are different colors, and the colors
Yeah, they're different colors.
are the stats and political parties, and every
Yep.
rat
Yep.
represents a different political party, and you can talk to or when they talk to each other, if you have speak with animals,
Mhm.
you hear a political debate between all
That
of
is adorable. Oh
them.
my god. That's so Discworld. I love it.
It's so funny. All right, we're
Alright.
in spoilers.
Yes, we're in spoilers.
So, the person responsible for all of this is a missing paladin named Gorm.
Yes.
Um,
And that missing paladin presents as kind of a separate quest a little bit within your game. It's one of those things where like you got to find the missing paladin because you'll get surely you'll get a reward and you'll be renowned. In fact,
and
by the end of the
you
game, I thought I had just missed that quest entirely.
and you revere this guy.
Yeah.
Whenever he comes up, you think he's the greatest.
Yeah.
Um, but turns out he knows a secret about the government that makes him want to bring it all down and bring
Yeah.
back the god Earth.
Right.
Earth. Now, so you end up traveling like into the esoteric
Hmm.
realm, and you confront Gorm, and he is trying to kill a bunch of people to bring back Earth, and
Yeah.
you can join him, I guess.
You
Maybe
can. I didn't, but you can.
maybe it stops you at some point, but it seems as if you can join him, or you can fight him
Hmm.
which you did, right?
I did that because I failed my dice rolls for other things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I just kind of let it. I wanted to keep going.
Yeah.
Essentially, I didn't want to redo this, so I let some of my dice rolls fail. And then at the end, that's all I had left. Like I couldn't talk intelligently to him. I had to kind of fight him.
So I talked to him about his oaths that he
Yeah,
took to Earth, and about how I was really harsh with him and talked to him about how he is betraying those oaths
I
because
tried. Oh, I know what happened, Matt. I tried to arrest him. I tried to be like, "Hey,
oh,
you broke your promise to being a paladin," which I thought was a very fair thing to say. And I said, "I'm going to have to arrest you." And then he instigated the fight, and I didn't
okay.
have much of a choice after that.
I had an option to I had a strength option. It was a
Yeah.
really high difficulty check, I think. Or it was lowered a lot by some of the dialogue choices I
Mhm.
took with him.
Yeah.
But it was a high difficulty check, and I had an option to convince him that he's broken his oath. And
Right.
you talk him through it, and you're like, this is what Earth stands for. And you think you're being helpful here, but you're being a dick, and
Yeah.
Earth would hate you for this.
Yeah.
And I understand that you think you are taking on this burden to become the bad guy, the villain, so that you can, like, the
Right.
ends justify the means,
He
and like
thought
you are the
he thought he was sacrificing himself too for the greater good.
right. I'm going to take on this evil
Yeah.
because 27 people will die, but it'll save dozens, which or save thousands or millions or however, which is what Earth did when he was alive with the goblins. He killed
Right.
many, many goblins
Right.
to keep his people alive.
Mhm.
And but you can convince him, no, you're not making the sacrifice because you're going to be dead.
Mhm.
You are putting that sacrifice on Earth. You're God. You're making him come back and have to answer for the horrible thing you did in front of everybody. And
Mhm.
he realizes he fucked up, and he takes his cool fire sword and he jabs it through his chest.
Damn.
And so that's why when Earth talks to me and says, um, he wasn't an evil guy. He was doing something evil because he was trying to his goals were pure, and
Yeah, I got some of that dialogue too.
not all people who do evil are evil.
Right.
Um and so I felt very sympathetic towards him, but I imagine if he attacked you,
He attacked me. Yeah.
that
And that
would
changed the
really
gameplay entirely.
what was this final I mean, I'm gonna do the fight, so what how was this final conflict?
Extremely difficult. Like
Okay.
I am shocked that I had good dice rolls. Like eventually your party members come in and they help you
Okay.
like Snell and Atir find you. Um
Yes.
it's pretty
Oh, I
intense though.
they find me okay, when I did mine, they found me after he was dead.
Oh, okay. No, they had to help me.
So they rush in, they finally find you
Yeah.
while you're in the middle of your fight. That's so
Correct.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was great. It was really intense and the game did kind of yes, it was making him to be a little sympathetic, but also he clearly was like acting like a cult leader a little bit. Like he was acting off, right?
Mhm.
I did not really want to fight him, but again, I made a decision early on that dictated that that was going to happen regardless.
Okay.
And I just didn't want to go through stuff again. I
Yeah.
didn't want to go through dialogue again. But now I'm going to retry it. Um there's another character that you can that 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 I ended up killing that I didn't want to kill. I wanted to work it out, but couldn't figure it out. And
Who
I
is
wonder
this?
if you the troll.
Oh, yeah. No, I killed the troll.
Damn it. I thought there was a chance that we didn't have to, but yeah.
Did you unmask the assassin?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. I loved that.
Okay.
I loved the assassin plot line, which again reminds me of Quest for Glory 5 because there is also an assassin plot line in there.
Oh, yeah, true.
Very similar.
What are some other what are some other spoiler things that we should ask each other if it happened to us? Did you get the deck of many things?
No.
So you didn't solve the Sphinx's big riddle.
The thing where
Some
she's like, "It's not an answer, it's an action."
Yes.
I didn't figure that out.
I had to look it up.
Oh, okay.
It's the only
Fair.
thing in this whole game I looked it up.
Fair. I looked up, I think, like, 2 things, and one of them was embarrassing. I had just missed a location.
Um, who you voting for?
The Asgilists.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Alright, is there anything else that we
I don't there's yes, but
I
nothing I
know.
think that we wanna put in this conversation. There's so much more about this game that rules and that I would this this is just it's just a great game. We'll talk about this slow so we can give people time to rejoin after the
Yeah.
spoiler, but
Yeah.
it's just so good. It's just such a great game.
Yeah. I
I
was delighted. I was delighted the whole time. I
I
I really had such a fun time, and I still wanna
yeah.
go back and load a previous thing so that I can find this. I have a couple loose ends. I got a couple loose ends I gotta tie up.
I am going to walk around the election and talk to everybody
Yeah.
and just take my time with it. And
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna wait a little while and then start over and see what other stuff I can discover.
Nice.
Um, but also, it's making me want to, like I said, it's making me want to play some of these other RPGs that I just didn't have like
True.
enough patience for.
Yeah, true.
Um, yeah, I hate to say it already, but there's no way we don't talk about this game again at the end of the year, right?
I agree. I think I will. Yes. Yes, I think it will come back.
I can't imagine that it won't, right?
It's probably my number 1 right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
remember, we still have a postmodern games game to play.
That's true. Yeah, that's true,
A-
and I do like them.
And a perfect tides. And Paradise Falls will be on it. No, I'm kidding. Oh, here's a game that just came out actually that I brought up during demos
Mhm.
when we were playing demos. Cult Vacui just came out.
Oh, yes, I do know. Yeah, I remember. I remember.
Um I loved the demo to that game.
Oh,
I
nice.
thought it was incredible. Um and I was so prepared not to because it's just another chunky pixel art horror game,
Yeah,
which we see so often. Um and it's first person,
yeah. Oh,
which
it looks like it's genuinely freaking me out. Like, it really is. Like, looking at the screenshots, I'm like, "Ah." It's
I
really kind of freaking me out.
I really loved it, and
Nice.
I think that's if it's too freaky, then maybe we can wait all the way till spooky month to talk about it.
Looks
But
scary.
I
You know how I feel about first person games, right?
they're scary just
Yes.
by their nature
Yes, I get even
because
fucking
you're alone.
missed. I'm like, I'm scared.
I think Myst was supposed to feel scary, but it
I
feels
think
like
so, yeah.
the cultural it feels like we have enough mimetic cultural knowledge now to know that nothing scary really happens in Myst,
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
but it's still funny to, like, boot it up and be like, "Uh."
I know. Just like, the music got weird. Why is the music weird?
Alright, do we wanna head for a descent now?
Yeah, let's do the descent.
The descent.
Descent.
So, thank you guys for listening. And thank you, Roses, for talking about Esoteric Ebb with me.
Oh, I couldn't wait. It's so fun.
You guys are so you guys ought to feel privileged that you got 2 episodes in a row.
I just want you guys to remember, I don't like D&D though. I don't play it. I don't like
Mhm, 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 mhm.
don't like that kind of stuff, honestly, you know?
Yeah, I can tell. So I'm gonna say the thing we said at the and I'm gonna say what we said at the end of like the last 2 episodes. I don't
Okay.
know that we've fully gotten back on track yet,
No,
but
I don't know if we have. But we're
We are
trying our
we are
best.
trying, and we managed to do it 2 weeks in a row. So,
We did do
this
that.
is
I'm proud of us.
I'm proud of us too.
We should get donuts.
Let's get donuts.
But also, if you want some consistency and you want to talk to us and other adventure gamers, we have quite the hop in Discord for Save Your Game. That'll be in the show notes. We have such a good time in the Discord, you
That Discord's
guys.
great.
The Discord is great. They're making friends in there. They support each other. I hop in there and talk. I love the Discord. If you need updates, you can follow us at Save Your Game Podcast on Instagram. If you want to bother us, you can email us at mattandroses@gmail.com. Am I missing anything here?
I don't think so. I think you fucking nailed it.
Nailed it. So good at this. This is why I'm a
So
YouTuber.
that
So
means
good at
there's
this.
only one thing left for us to do. Not say what we say at the end of every episode.
Get donuts?
Get donuts. Podcast is art.
And art is supper.